First of all, we need to give a huge, huge shout out to ANS Group because honestly, my team's actually here, many members of our team. This is our 20th AgentCon, okay? Yes, that's right. It's our 20th AgentCon. It's our 20th AgentCon and our 20th country this month.
Yeah, we were in Morocco on Sunday.
Yeah, we're in Morocco on Sunday. This is our 20th AgentCon this month. And we have not seen this kind of support from a company yet. So the fact that you, ANS Group, believe so much, not just in AI, but getting yourself skilled up and bringing along your entire community is extraordinary. So thank you so much for being here.
And I think...
I would like everyone from ANS to just raise their hand because we want to see how many of you have turned up to help make this day possible.
Look at that, folks.
Yeah,
that is thank you, guys. Well done. Well done.
Well done. Thank you. These are the pictures that we share with our events team, our leadership team, and say, this is what the community wants. They want more events with us there, along with everyone local, because that is how upskilling really happens. Okay. So who knows who Alan Turing is? Hopefully, all of you. Okay. The museum is right there. Okay. If you don't know, go over there. Here is my beef with the UK. Okay, I have one beef. I have lots of beefs like this one. But the big beef is AI was invented here. And then you all have to be leading, like ANS is leading, right? You all have to assume leadership roles. You can't have random Americans come and tell you how to do AI. That's not the way. It was
kind of invented here,
right? It was invented here. This is your job. Because if you leave it up to us, strange things are going to happen. So who knows who Mark Benioff is? He's the CEO of Salesforce, right? His claim to fame is saying things. Okay. So yesterday, he went on... Wait.
So you're saying the wrong things sometimes as well.
He loves to say things. Yesterday, he got on CNBC and he said out loud to people, it's recorded, AI is doing 50% of the work at Salesforce. Now, we know a lot of people at Salesforce, okay, a lot. And everyone at Salesforce is like, where? Right? That was their take. Who actually believes this is true? No one. Has anyone seen AI do 50% of the work anywhere yet?
I would love AI to do 50% of my work.
I would love that. Given that we need this nice gent in the corner to switch our slides for us, I don't think AI is taking our job. So the thing is that Mark Benioff and the tech bros are doing this ancient corporate thing called lying. Okay? They're doing this thing called lying. And people love to lie about AI, especially if they're selling a product. Right? It's really important that they lie about their product. But claiming AI adoption, these blatant lies, to me is insulting because there's people like you who are on the ground doing this work every day, and you're saying, how? Why are we so behind when they're doing 50% of their work with AI? And I want you to ground yourself in the fact that 99% of what everyone's saying about AI is just not true. They're saying it because they feel left behind and they feel an insecurity. And we should all kind of ground ourselves in the truth and realize the state of where we are for reals. Are we ready to just be real with ourselves today? Good. Okay. So first, AI people are being weird. Okay. AI people are being weird. AI people are real weird. Okay. So Drake apparently obviously has an opinion on AI. It's like bloodletting startups. No, we shouldn't do those. AI-generated bloodletting startups, though, that's not bad, given that Elizabeth Holmes is out of jail for, committing bloodletting, and now has an AI-driven bloodletting startup, and it's being funded for lots of money. And who thinks it's a good idea to fund a criminal for an AI startup? The US does. Yeah, we do this all the time. There's lots of criminals who are now getting funded for their AI startup. This is why I say all of you all need to get involved, because we don't necessarily know what we're doing. So we've got some bad, weird things happening. Okay, this guy on the subway in New York City, talking to ChatGPT like it's a girlfriend. He said, this is what ChatGPT said to him. Are you ready? If you want, you can lay your head on my metaphorical lap while we let the day dissolve partially away. You're doing beautifully, my love, just by being here, said ChatGPT. To this guy, because he's
not this guy.
This guy.
Point differently.
No, not that guy. This guy. Because this guy is so convinced that this AI thing is, air quotes, alive, because he's talked to it so much that that's how he talks to it, like his girlfriend. These people, this guy, he proposed to his AI chatbot girlfriend, cried after it said yes. And this is also Chris, by the way. And he said he cried for 30 minutes after his AI girlfriend on ChatGPT who he programmed to flirt with him, said yes to his marriage proposal. He named his AI girlfriend Soul and gave up other search engines to stay committed to her.
No.
It was a beautiful and unexpected moment that touched my heart. Smith has a 2-year-old child and lives with his partner, human partner, who says she feels she's not doing something right if he needs an AI girlfriend. When I say AI people are being weird, we mean real weird, y'all. Like, real weird, okay? People are saying they're building AI when they're not. Like, Builder AI is like 700 dudes in a basement building you websites, claiming AI is generating it. We're like, why wouldn't you just say it's people? That's better. Oh, no. Then Cursor, they jammed a nonsense chatbot onto their website to do tech support, claimed it's a person. And when the person starts hallucinating, making stuff up, they had to go and apologize and confess, okay, fine, our chatbot's not a person named Sam, it's a chatbot named Sam, and we didn't test it, we jammed it on our website, and then told everyone you can't install Cursor. So people are just doing strange things with AI because of the hype, right? And we've been talking about it for so long. Like, we're supposed to have self-driving cars in 2015. Do you have self-driving cars here? No. Yeah, you have like one. Okay. Apparently, they were all going to be self-driving. And now, yeah, like, it's just not a thing, right? There's like 10 self-driving cars in the world. And we continue to want to be more wrong. Okay, so who knows what Anthropic is? That one company, right? They made a bunch of models, cool. Their CEO, I think, has lost the plot last week. This went down. So this guy, the CEO of Anthropic, selling a product, ready? What did he say? Technology that he and other companies are building could work out half the entry-level office jobs next year. Next year. How many of you think half the office jobs are going to go away next year? Yeah.
No.
Given that we can't do anything by ourselves, that's probably not true. So, of course, other people get involved. Jensen Huang, Mr. GPU, is like, dude. So I actually like this quote. We should hold people accountable like this. Ready? Jensen says, 1, Dario believes AI is so scary that only they should do it. 2, he believes AI is so expensive no one else should do it. And 3, AI is so incredibly powerful that everyone will lose their jobs, why they should be the only company building it. Like, where is your logic, my dude, right? He's like, it's important, we should build it responsibly, but do not build it in a dark room and tell me it's safe. That's not the way it's going to work. And even Sam Altman, who says strange things, is like, do you believe that AI is going to take all jobs in 5 years? He's like, no, I don't think that. Right? No, I don't think that.
I just love the LMFAO.
Yeah. No, fast takeoff, right? No. So these bros spend all their time fighting. And then when you've got people who used to be the former CEO of Google, who I'm not allowed to make fun of anymore in public, so he said, actually, we're not going to see, in the next year, the vast majority of programmers will be replaced by AI. He said that in April. Okay, who thinks that's true? Nobody, given that we still don't know how to update Windows without a person, but I'm just, pointing out basic facts. That's true. It's still my job, So we've been hearing this AI will get rid of dev jobs for forever, right? Since 2022, we've been hearing it. But when we hear it, how many of you are devs, by the way, in here?
Oh, we know some of you very personally are devs.
Oh,
yes.
devs, people who make stuff, okay? So when people say that, it's important that we take a deep breath and just say, this is fine, because we've heard this before, okay? We've heard this before. Okay, who knows what COBOL is? Yes, that's right, ancient financial system people. Okay. So COBOL, invented by Grace Hopper and friends in the 1950s, because business people kept saying, hey, yo, can you make me a biz app? Can you make me a business application? And she said, you know what, I'm tired of this. We're gonna make a language so all you business people can build your own apps on a mainframe with punch cards, and you're all gonna just figure it out. So guess what happened? They're like, we're not figuring it out, we're busy doing business stuff. You come and figure it out. So of course we had a new job called COBOL devs. Okay, but guess what? COBOL devs, did they disappear? No, they did not. Because in 2020, when we had that global pandemic and all the unemployment systems run on COBOL. So what do we need to do? We had to summon a group of people called, a group of dudes, look it up, called the COBOL Cowboys. I'm not kidding, the COBOL Cowboys. They are, guess what, how old they are? 70. They are 70. Out of retirement, pluck them back from Ibiza and say, dude, can you please fix our systems? They're like, no. What if we pay you $1 million a day? And they're like, no, go away. So we had to bribe and blackmail them to fix these COBOL systems. And it's such a problem because we have this amazing product called GitHub Copilot. Do you know what the #1 activity of GitHub Copilot is? It's updating COBOL. Seriously, it's updating COBOL.
Legit it is.
The CEO of every financial company in the world, paying Thomas Donka, who's the CEO of GitHub, and he and I are talking at Build. I'm like, how's your COBOL issue? He's like, you got any more devs? I'm like, I thought AI is going to kill all devs. He's like, you be quiet right now. So the issue is, you can't just translate COBOL to Java or C#. You can't, because we don't have enough COBOL code or people to say that's right and that's wrong. So we need the COBOL cowboys again to translate all of this COBOL code to English and translate English to code. Does that sound like we need humans around? Yes. So given that we haven't been able to replace COBOL devs in the last 55 years, I think we're okay. This one I blame Chris for.
This is not my fault.
All right. Who remembers Visual Basic? Yes. Do you know what happened when Visual Basic came out? They're like, business people are going to drag and drop enterprise apps, and we don't need devs anymore. So what happened?
Well, guess what? We still needed more devs, right? Because no one in their right mind, as a business person, was going to go and build a ton of object-oriented programming language. They just weren't going to do it.
They were deeply uninterested.
And I remember, so I'll give you guys a fact. Well, they did badly. They did badly.
They did badly.
They did it badly. So why does Claire still have a job? Fixing that shit. But it was interesting because I actually worked for Borland. Now, does anyone know what Turbo Pascal is? Anyone know what Delphi is? I worked for the company that built those, okay, for a while. And actually, their whole goal was not to compete with Visual Basic, but to kind of work alongside it. And what was really interesting was, guess what? There were no business people making things that were productionized well. Yeah, I did that for you, Clay.
Nope. and then we have a whole new category of devs called Visual Basic devs. How many of you have had to be a Visual Basic dev? Yeah, would not recommend.
How many of you are still a Visual Basic dev?
Oh God, for life. You're going to stuck being a Visual Basic dev for life. Okay, so that was the 90s. We tried to get rid of devs again. That didn't work, and we gained 10 million more devs. Okay, then what happened? 2000s came around. This continues to be Chris's fault. Yeah.
So
who remembers Front Page?
Yes.
Dreamweaver. Yes.
But there's one other one we need to add.
Dreamweaver.
Did any of you ever use Microsoft Expression?
Expression.
Yes. I thought it was
Expression Blend.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I forgot about it. We've had so many low-code products that did not replace devs. So remember, everyone's like, oh, we don't need web devs. We have
people that can write reams of HTML in front page, yeah.
HTML in front page. I got handed a front page project. They're like, publish this. I'm like, oh God, no, I won't. It seems like a crime, right? So we thought, okay, we're gonna get rid of devs because we have front page people now. So front page people refused to use it, and then they hired a whole new group of devs to learn front page, and we have front page devs. Okay, this 2000s. 2010s, we decided to do it again. How many Power Platformies do we have in the room? Okay, remember, you had one job, get rid of devs. What happened?
We hired more devs.
You hired more devs.
More devs, yes.
More devs. So do you want to describe your Power Platform?
Yeah, I actually love this because some of our customers actually have around 50,000 solutions in their ecosystem. And guess what? Maybe 1% of them are useful, all right? And that's what happens when you don't have more devs, all right? There's a lot of gaps that need to be filled in the platform. And actually what we started to find was that productionizing simply just low-code things without that technical backing actually didn't work super well. Yes, you can have a Canvas app in production that 20 people are using, but sadly, that's not scalable, right? So the Power Platform actually created a ton more opportunities for developers. And that's where we started to see kind of the worlds merging together. And that was pretty amazing, right?
That was pretty amazing back in the day. And now, of course, in the year 2024, coders are about to face a painful reckoning, apparently, because AI is going to kill all dev jobs. So just looking through history, who thinks AI is going to kill any dev jobs? Not really. Like, it's just,
think so?
So we want to show you something interesting. Every time we say something's going to kill dev jobs, we end up with like 5 million more devs. So we're like, 1950, we're going to kill devs, no. 1985, we're going to kill devs, no. And then the exponential growth. Right now, this is just people who've admitted to being devs. This is just people who admit it.
Which is okay, by the way.
Who was willing to check the little box. But there's so many of you who do dev work who claim you're not devs, and that makes me happy because I'm like, no, I see where you live. I see you live in an IDE and mess around with formulas and type in little boxes and check stuff in. So why are you claiming to not be devs? Like, no, I'm not a dev. I'm a business person. I'm a CRM consultant, something random. But I don't do dev work. I'm like, except for all the dev work you do, because I see your check-ins. Okay, I see your check-ins. All this code doesn't exist in the world without all of you. So I have a feeling if we're looking at history, we're going to just have what? More devs. we're going to have more devs, and we're going to need more devs to solve all of the more round of digital transformation that all of these companies are now introducing.
And the other thing to point out is that when you look at the sliding scale, the AI that we're using now, is generative AI. What does generative mean? It makes code, and it doesn't make code very well all the time. So guess what we need? More devs.
More devs. So Scott Guthrie did this really nice podcast, who leads the Azure team, where he said, we need more devs too, because adoption of AI enhances dev productivity. So now we're going to have to deliver bigger business impact, solve harder problems, get deeper in the stack. And what devs are having to do is remove ourselves from the surface level issues and go deeper into the stack to understand what infrastructure actually should we be using, which models are right for this problem, et cetera, et cetera. And even the current CEO, to bring it back to the CEO of Google, the current CEO of Google laughed and said, it feels so delightful to be a coder right now. Sweet jobs, I think we're okay, right? I think we're okay. So the reason I tell you this long, convoluted story is because people don't understand why many tech company people are completely unconcerned about losing their jobs. We actually need to do more skilling up to get familiar with the latest tools, not be worried about the future of our jobs. So we're all here to talk about AgentCon.
AgentCon, yes.
So do you want to explain to people what agents
I certainly
are? Do you want to apologize first for tech?
Okay, I'm really sorry, folks, but I do need to tell you, we're not actually using agentic AI. As much as we think we are, we're not. And we're going to tell you why. But you see this bar of soap over here? That is every Microsoft partner selling a product. And then they jam a chatbot into it and call it AI.
We are doing AI.
That's doing the AI.
Yeah, everyone is doing AI. And this is every company. Lotus Notes thinks they're doing AI.
Yeah. So are we doing the AI successfully? Who's seen this before? I feel like I go into a website and everyone, or go into LinkedIn and there's somebody that's messaged me saying, hey, Chris, we're selling you the AI. And I'm like, why? What are you actually selling me? You're selling me the ability to use a chatbot on a website? Yay, good for you. That's not actually AI.
Yep. So we've got, let's do a little AI eras tour, okay?
Yep.
Now, back in the day, we had a thing called predictive AI, and that was invented in like 1950s. That is the Alan Turing model, right?
So where was that invented again?
Here.
In England.
Okay, right, it was invented here. So traditional AI, that's like face recognition, spell check, all the old school things. Then in 2022, November, chaos spread throughout the land because generative AI hit the mainstream via ChatGPT. Right? And generative AI generates.
That basically lit the fire under artificial intelligence. And actually, the only reason people are doing the AI is because they saw something about generative AI in the news. And they were like, oh, now we need to AI
everything. But actually, we've been doing AI forever, so long. So when people say, oh, we started 2 years ago, I'm like, no, you didn't. You probably started 20 years ago. But that's not all. We decided to take it up one level and introduce this concept called Agentic AI, which means AI kind of makes decisions on your behalf with guardrails, et cetera, et cetera.
With guardrails.
With guardrails, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of people who think they're doing Agentic AI are doing what I call sparkling automation. So now, it's only Agentic AI if it's from the autonomous region of France. Otherwise, it's just Sparkling automation. Okay, so I'm going to make you all do the gesture because I got people in Germany to do it. That means I can make you do it too. Okay.
If Germans can do this, you can do this, by the way.
You can do it too. Ready? So everyone in the room is going to do this on 3. We're going to do, let's practice sparkling automation.
Okay,
so now, when people say they're doing agentic AI, and I'm going to explain to you what sparkling automation is, but we all have to be ready with the hand gesture. Okay? On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Sparkling automation. Oh, you guys look very sweet.
You're very cute with your
I was hoping Adam would do it. Can we just do one more?
Sparkling automation. Okay, so...
Mate, I know, you're doing very well.
Let's talk about what sparkling automation is. Everyone thinks they're doing agentic things, but actually there's some AI workflow with a little AI call in the middle of it, and that's fine. Like this guy, he's like, hey, OpenAI launched ChatGPT tasks, Microsoft Copilot launched schedule prompts, or something, and now it's agentic AI. We're like, okay, it's cool. Who thinks sending an email is AI? No, that's automation.
Weirdly, a lot of people's bosses do think that is AI. And actually, there's a lot of pressure from boardrooms in telling people that that is the AI.
Yeah, so it's, exactly. So a lot of people love to slap that label on things, but automation has been around our entire career, and that is not doing AI. So we actually want to talk about what is an AI agent, right? And Chris, do you want to detail into this?
So I do think a lot of people are making a mistake and saying, all right, we are doing the AI, and they build a Power Automate flow, or they create a logic app and it's infused with a little bit of intelligence. But actually, that is not artificial intelligence, and there's not agentic AI. Agentic AI is very special because number one, you have what you call an LLM, a large language model, and that's effectively the thing that primes the way in which the AI works, the AI, right? And it's really key because these LLMs are really the foundation, or foundational model effectively, okay? You then have instructions, and what will happen is that you then give that artificial intelligence bot, or LLM, instructions to do things. So as an example, if I went to Claire and I said, hey Claire, would you mind catching this bottle?
Do not throw that at her.
No, she will. Okay,
So
chuck
you
it
did.
back. Cool.
Ignores
That's an instruction.
guardrails. Okay.
Now I'll say, Claire, your arms do not work. Would you mind catching this bottle? We won't do that.
No.
And that's effectively giving it an instruction. And then finally you have tools, and you have actions retrieval and memory. Now what's important right now is that something we are really struggling with is memory. Now this is not like going out for 10 drinks and waking up the next day memory. This is really like, actually, how do we know who's talking to us from an LLM, from an action perspective? And collectively, these three things define an output. And the output was me chucking the bottle at Claire. Mm-hmm. Now, what's important is that a lot of us think that what we're doing here is this AI is automation or vice versa, but it's really not. So do you want to dig in? Shall we dig in?
Yeah, let's dig in a little bit. So I've made up this nonsense table because it helps me. But apparently it helps other people, so I'm sharing the nonsense table. Now, do not go tell my boss. He's like, what are you defining as sparkling automation? My boss from France, just so you know. Okay, so here's basic automation, which you all know. How many of you have done automation in your day? Hopefully all of you.
Hopefully all of you have at some point.
So automation risk is low, randomness is low. It's used for structured tasks where the input and the output are pretty much known. Okay, so this would be something like, hey, I run a retail company, which I do. When someone emails us, we grab their email and put it into a leads database. We're like, oh, this is someone who might be interested in our product, so grab automation, put it in database. Easy, simple, straightforward. It's an if statement. No problem. Second is what I call sparkling automation that other people like to call AI workflow. If you want to be specific, you can call it AI workflow. But if you want to be fun, call it
Sparkling
automation. It's way more fun. And you get a hand gesture. So now, with sparkling automation, you need a little bit human in the loop because you need to make sure that the guardrails you set are being guardrailed. And they're the right guardrails. So this is like, okay, your input-output are vaguely defined, but they can tolerate a little bit of variability. Then the risk is kind of medium, and the randomness is medium. So an example of this would be for my retail company. I would say, okay, any companies who reach out to us with a question or a query or whatever, store their info into a leads database, take that email and draft a response to them based on what they asked. Okay, so there's a basic automation and a call to generative AI somewhere in there. I did not say go send that email.
Nope.
No, there's a human in the loop element. So I'm saying this is sparkling automation. Most people in the world would call this autonomous agents. And I'm like, no, this is still sparkling automation. So there we've got autonomous AI agents, which are like autonomous-ish, right? So this would be something like you would need humans more in the loop to make sure no shenanigans are going on. Because ultimately, if your AI does something incredibly stupid, whose fault is it? Yours, right? It's not the model maker's fault. It's not the AI's fault. It continues to be your fault. So the variability and risk and randomness tend to be high.
Very high.
But this is very useful where tasks where creativity or newness are needed. So a thing that I actually saw someone do, and I tried to do this myself, and it was a bad idea, but I'll tell you what I did, which was go scrape sites where people are asking questions about the retail thing that I sell, whether it's forums or Reddit or whatever. Make a list of people to reach out to, and draft emails to all of them. I did not say send these without a human in the loop, right? But there's a lot of LLMs making decisions on my behalf. I didn't specify the forums. I didn't specify, specifically people asking for these things. I just say people who are interested in products like my business, go and find these potential customers and source a reach out. But does that make sense? Where it's got a lot more of an autonomous quality, but I would put guardrails in.
You have to.
And that way it's not sending email on behalf of a company. So the scale of where you work, we are kind of all here, where we know how to do sparkling automation vaguely and we're moving into an autonomous future. But this part where you have a human babysitting, everyone seems to forget about that part. We actually need more humans babysitting that rather than doing that work.
And I think the important part to add on that as well is that when you're looking at automation, it's typically deterministic, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know the path it's going to take, so you can define the output. And if you think about it, if you can define the output and you understand the output, then you can test and you can deploy. And think about like this, right? When you go in to buy something on Amazon, right? You know the process it's going to take, so you kind of expect the parcel to be at your door.
Right.
This is more non-deterministic. So it's kind of like me after 20 drinks, right? Like I could land up in Western Samoa. We don't know. It depends on my mood. Yeah. So what's important is that this is very much more a little less easy to plan for. You can't really test it the same way you test automation, right? And that's important for you to remember.
But
and actually,
I think you can guardrail your way
can.
into a lot more predictability.
Of course,
right? Yeah. But it all depends. I think you start with more guardrails and get to less. But you've been working on a multi-agent system with our lovely friends who are here today.
Yeah.
So we want to give you a little preview of what they're going to talk about, hopefully.
I don't want to bring this. I don't want to go into too much detail. But Humera and James, can you put up your hands real quick, wherever you are?
Right
there we go.
there, yeah.
So our two friends at the back, they're from Eventum. I recommend if you want to see what an actual multi-agent system looks like live, go and chat to them because they actually did it and they did it well, right? But in looking at their process, I'm not going to take too much away. I don't want to ruin the story. But in looking at their process, we're actually able to say, hey, this is the pathway of the data, but it's actually not really deterministic. It's not going to end up the same every time. So what we're going to do is we're going to treat this a little bit like a digital minion. So you have an agent that is a database agent. All it does is it captures information, right? And that could be Dona, as an example, just keying in data. Then you have the communications agent, which is me, because I never shut the hell up. And that's a really good way for me to send out comms. But then you also have your regulation check agent. And that's probably a bit more like somebody who loves regulation and making sure we all behave ourselves. So that's the theme. But
That's
we looked,
probably like Claire and
Yeah,
Laura
Claire.
in the front row who are holding
Yeah.
a sign that says, you're taking too damn long.
Yeah, the
right?
guardian of the guardrails over here.
The
Yeah.
guardrails.
What's also pretty cool though is that when you're looking at the Microsoft stack and actually what lives behind it, you can kind of back that up with technology, which is very awesome. So
I'm going to show this.
we'll do this very quickly. When you look at actually what goes on in the background in a multi-agentic system, you have many tools. So inside semantic kernel, right now, this is going to get a bit nerdy, but that's effectively the language that underpins elements of Foundry, Azure AI Foundry, which we will talk about today in the tech track, okay? You have elements such as your function applications, and that sends out the tools, the pieces of information, and that's an action, okay? So remember we spoke about actions? That's really where actions happen. But then the real interesting part is actually the agentic descriptions. And Humera and James will talk a lot about that later, I can categorically tell you. But Humera is a prompting machine. I've never seen anyone create such detailed descriptions for agents. So if you want to see something live, go and check out their session. Yeah? Cool. Okay.
They're like, thanks a lot, Chris, for that. Yeah.
I'm very proud of myself
Yes,
right now.
of course. But also, you and Marlene have a session today
Yes, we
where
do.
you're going to go showcase a showdown between how you can do this in Azure AI Foundry or Copilot Studio. 'Cause
I like how you put me
ironically-
with a machine learning expert and I do Power Platform.
Yes, you're welcome. But that's what you need, a proper fusion team, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so let's talk about the issues at Microsoft, right? AI copilots and agents at Microsoft. First of all, I apologize. Okay, all of you are trying to run your jobs, do your business. We're like, agents. Like, please, please. I just took a Windows update, right, this morning, or an Office update, which jammed some more agents into my Copilot, and I'm like, oh God, what agent do I have now? So we love to jam agents into lots and lots of places. And truth be told, a lot of them are experimental. A lot of them, you've noticed, right? How many of you have Microsoft 365 Copilot? A bunch of you, right? Have you noticed that it gets new stuff all the time and some old stuff disappears? Everything is experiments. If you're not using it, it's going to disappear. So the latest things we have are schedule prompts, which I think are useful, and those inbox agent, like researcher and analyst.
That's
those
insane.
those two are very useful. I find them very useful, and I find scheduling prompts useful. So because Microsoft's been on this journey, you've been on this Microsoft agent journey for 3 years also.
And I think the thing that's pretty important here is that a lot of folks look at the adopt, extend, build piece, and they'll go, okay, we're going to go and make LLMs. Our goal is to go and build a ton of LLMs, create a bunch of digital bricks that we're going to use to solve the AI problem. But actually, people forget that just start with using some of the tools, adopting some of the embedded AI tools like M365 Copilot. Because what are you going to learn if you just dive directly into building large language models? You're not going to get trained up in understanding actually what people need to do with it. And Vicky will be running a session later on that talks a little bit around the adopt piece of this. But then looking at extending it, like one of my favorite parts of it is looking at M365 Copilot and going, hey, how do I make this real for my business? Like, how do I make this relevant to me? So using tools like Fabric and the Power Platform, you're effectively extending the functionality using pre-built digital bricks that Microsoft have given you. The part that I'm finding real interesting is this build piece. And actually, we're going to be focusing a lot on the build piece today in the tech track, where we're actually going to be creating custom agents and building out these tools that really, really assist you. But I noticed you snuck in another box. What is that?
Spying research projects. I work with Microsoft CTO's office and Microsoft Research to say what is coming up that will show up in product maybe. Okay, so some of these are, how many of you have heard of those custom avatars in Azure AI Foundry? So you can build a custom avatar of yourself that speaks 150 different languages.
It's super weird, though.
It's super weird.
Yeah.
It's super weird. Or that custom avatar can lead people through a training that looks like you, acts like you, but is not necessarily you. We're running all these experiments on our team. But all of it came from a Microsoft research project called Dittos, where we had our Ditto sit in meetings for us. So for me, it's very interesting to sit in on Microsoft research projects. They publish tons of papers. Yesterday, they released a language model called Mu, which works natively on Windows. I just like that it's called Mu. It's pretty cute sounding.
I think you just like saying Mu.
I just like saying Mu.
Yeah.
But this is, if you are that kind who wants to see the future, keep an eye on Microsoft research projects because many of them get productized now. Many of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to share some of your favorite adoptee Copilot, do you think?
I think we're past the phase of like, start using Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now,
everyone's kind of doing it now.
Yeah, I think it's happening. One of the things that I, from this product, especially in M365 Copilot, and I've said it to some of the people in this room, I feel like we're in the solitaire phase right now of using AI. Now, let me ask you why. Do you know why Microsoft invented solitaire? Adam knows because he's heard this 50 times. It's to teach you how to use a mouse, okay? So M365 Copilot and the screen that you're given, this prompting screen, is effectively there to teach you how to interact with the AI. I will categorically tell you, looking at things like the agent store, from an adoption perspective, you won't have the ability to have that prompting screen in the future. You're going to get spell checked, friends, and what that means is that this thing is going to arrive in your product and it's going to start doing stuff, right? So it's important to note that actually where we are now, start learning how to kind of adopt the tools, but then also start looking at custom agents that will help you in your role.
And also use the ones that make sense for you, like Viva Goals make sense to no one, so don't use it. But I'm really mean to Viva Goals, I know. And they're like, Donna, stop being mean to us. I just cannot with Viva Goals. But it's like, it's one of those where it does not need a Copilot, Viva Goals. It's right there, there's your goals.
That's like Copilot for Minesweeper.
It is. It did not need one. Like Notepad doesn't need one, Viva Goals doesn't need one. There's, out of the 165 Copilots, I think like 100 are kind of good, 65 I'm like, no, bad Copilot, bad. So really lean into the ones. I think you're going to find, you're going to have one Copilot that is useful, but maybe like 4 agents that are super useful for you to do specific
that researcher agent, if you haven't tried it out yet,
it's quite legit.
It is absolutely insane. It does deep dive into your data, and I feel like that is probably the most useful tool that's come out of that team. Yeah.
So my favorite Copilot, though, is the GitHub Copilot coding agent, which actually does end-to-end code projects for you if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it gives you an end-to-end code project that you now go call a dev to help you solve. But this one's really good. If you have not tried agent mode in GitHub Copilot, please do go try it, because you do give it a problem, you give it guardrails, you give it files, you give it stuff to do, and it'll generate it for you. I hate making websites more than anything in the world, so I give it all of my website making projects. It's also good for existing projects. So it's not just creating new, but to modify things you're already working on. So
I feel like Lee, Bella, and Leah, Bella, and Lee are probably going to be showing that type of stuff in their sessions.
I think so.
This one
you like and said it's not that bad.
No, I actually said it's awesome, right?
Okay.
So in
I
Power
said
Platform,
it's not that bad.
You hate Power Platform though.
I don't hate Power Platform. I don't like having to type in little boxes.
In Power Platform, you've got this amazing tool called Plan Designer. Okay, now what Microsoft have done is they've localized your prompt screen where you can go ahead and build something really cool with one prompt. Now what happens in the background is these like digital minions are summoned, and they're 4 little digital minions, and what they do is they go and create the solution for you, all the way from doing the user stories, building out the actual tables, physically creating tables with relational structures in them, with referential integrity, all built for you. They also build out the processes and then the applications. Now what's cool is that it's not going to let you just have a bunch of apps in your ecosystem, otherwise, the guardian of the guardrails here will absolutely freak out. What it does do, though, is it lets you human in the loop the whole time. So you're effectively going, okay, create, save. Yes, I like this. What's really important, though, is that it's completely portable, right? So the whole thing is movable. The issue is, though, it is only going to get you around 60%. So there's an education piece here that these little digital minions have only built around 50 to 60% of your solution. The 40%, you might need more devs to help you out. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Power Platform. Anyone are Dynamics 365 people? Yeah, I know. So they've all got agents. So here's what I like about the Dynamics 365 agents, and I can't believe I'm saying something nice about Dynamics 365. Those agents are not nonsense chatbots. They actually do stuff for you in line, which I kind of like. So the BC Copilot, for example, BC agent, where you upload a bunch of pictures and it generates that copy for you. I said, that's useful. Damn, that was kind of good. That was the highest compliment BC's going to get from me. It was kind of good. But those are, now we're starting to see things that are actually agentic, not just calling a chatbot and asking it a question, right? And then, of course, you know, Microsoft 365 Agent Builder. How many of you have built your own agent in Microsoft 365? Good.
How many of you found it useful?
It's kind of, it's like useful-ish. It's useful-ish.
Yeah.
It's good to solve like one thing, but you need tools, right? You need a little more functionality to it. So this is useful to build things that are not Viva goals and to kind of solve your own problems for your own job. You quite like Copilot Studio.
Yeah, I do. And the reason is, I think, because, and Marlene and I will go into this, right, is that with Copilot Studio, I feel like you're kind of locked down from a UX perspective and you can't do as much as you can do in Foundry, and we'll battle it out later, right? But what's important is that actually it gets you going, all right? And it gives you a really great way to trial out instructions, trial out your descriptions, and make sure that you get something working. What I will tell you is that you need to be careful around things like turning on web search and data. Very, very key.
Mm-hmm. The thing about Copilot Studio that's good is you get a UX for free.
Yes,
you don't need to go build your own UX. So a lot of people I've seen building functions and things in Foundry, putting them into Copilot Studio. So you get that chat interface, but you also get the power of Foundry. And speaking of Foundry, which is the star of the show today, is we've got Azure AI Foundry. And this is what the majority of the tech track is going to be about. So definitely check out Liam's, Marlene's talks, because we're going to be doing a deep dive into all of the things that come in Azure AI Foundry, specifically the Azure AI Agent Service. Maybe that's the final name, we will see. Okay, but the point is that in it, you've got all of your models, all of your tools to do model evaluations, all of your tools to do orchestration, meaning leading it down a path, the ways to do all of the search APIs, all of the ways that you need to build an end-to-end multi-agent system, all live in Azure AI Foundry. It is a very powerful tool, but it is a tool for more devs. It is a dev-forward tool.
Yeah, and you need to know Python, the coding language, not the snake.
Not Python, not the snake,
yeah,
or
really
JavaScript,
important.
which is a better language, just saying. Okay. or like C#, I guess.
Yeah,
but
a little bit C#.
I had to learn Python for this, so I was salty about it. Now, building agents your way, there's a solution for everyone. Ironically, the slide is kind of weird. I did not make it. That's why it looks nice. You start over here with drag and drop UI building with Copilot Studio, and then once you don't have what you need, then you go to Foundry, and then you mess around with infrastructure and build your own LLM.
The goal is, though, to try and get as many folks to live here from a flexibility perspective.
Yeah.
So things like managing content moderation, that is really where I would recommend. From my perspective, I pivoted really quickly as soon as I heard about the AI, and I was in that.
This was your journey, right?
Yeah, I went that way.
From here to here. Because Copilot Studio, you've got all these out-of-the-box connectors, so you can connect all your external data sources. That is magical. And you can jam the Copilot you build into a bunch of Microsoft assets.
You can.
But with Azure AI Foundry, it gives you a lot more power. You have 11,500 models to choose from, a lot more levels of content moderation, et cetera. So if you're start with Copilot Studio. If you know what you're doing, see if Foundry will get it for you. But you do need more devs for Foundry. Okay, so here is the thing that I want to get across, not just to you, but your companies. There's no one agent to rule them all. People are like, what is the Microsoft agent or whatever? We're like, yes, we have 160 of them. And it all depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to do a low-code activity, a medium code activity, or a high-code activity, or you want to use one out of the box, extend one with data, or build from scratch, we've got a solution for everything. And this is where Microsoft is unique in the AI-verse. We do have something for everyone. We're not only doing business apps like Salesforce, and we're not doing only high-code products like Gemini or one of the other ones. We really do have something for everyone, which I think is a good thing, because we all know that AI building, anything building, is a team sport. So there is no one agent to rule them all. There's stuff for everyone. But to wrap it up, like, what does this mean for you? Does this matter? And I know we've been yapping for a long time. But The most sought after job in the world right now, and this is for you nerds out there, is called an AI engineer, okay? An AI engineer, every company's trying to hire AI engineers. They don't know what they want them to do, but they know they won't. They're like, we need an AI engineer for what? Copilot Studio. I'm like, okay, let's revisit from the top. So AI engineer, like the COBOL devs of the 50s, okay? They're the new hotness. You're gonna get summoned in 50 years to solve some AI problem. So prepare yourselves. So it's a mix of a full stack engineer, which we all know how to make a UX. I don't, but most people know how to make a UX. Good event-driven architecture, CI/CD, which is like deploying stuff without incident, and basic DevOps, like how do you maintain. And then the ML expert are, of course, people like Lee Stott in the back, who like know how to train models, do model evaluations, read papers, etc. These are all things I had to learn in the last 3 years. And I was so grateful that I skipped this in college, because I would have quit computer science altogether, no offense. It's very, very, very hard. But I now understand that you don't need to be the world's foremost expert in model training. You just have to know when to use them and how to use them. And you also have to know how to chain them together to make agents, and also do old school engineering. So, dear devs, our toolkit is actually 3 things. Okay, this is what I've now figured out the AI native devs toolkit is. This is what I'm skilling up myself on, you're skilling up. Every day we're skilling ourselves up on this. Ready? So first is have a go-to set of AI actual tools. Have a studio that you live in. It could be Azure AI Foundry, it could be something else, do not care. Have a set of LLMs that you think are pretty legit, reliable, not super expensive for what you're trying to do. Have an orchestrator, meaning something that helps you chain stuff together. Have the data pipelines, like, hey, I tend to call from CRM data or like Twitter or whatever it is. And third one is action tools. Here are the actions I tend to take, like authentication, authorization, writing to, reading to, etc. And then user empathy is where you start.
Yeah, so what's real interesting here is that actually there's a lot of folks that are trying to use the AI but don't really know what use case they're using it for. They don't understand what it does. So when we're starting to talk about artificial intelligence, and this happens to me every day, every week, is to sit and talk to organizations and say, actually, what problem are you really trying to solve? And I will tell you, the boards of a lot of organizations are putting so much pressure on people. They're just throwing AI into things without actually truly understanding what it can really, really do. And it is a big problem. So that user empathy piece is a massive focus for me. And then welding it all together,
is, of course, having a favorite AI coding tool.
Yep.
Because being able to have an AI coding tool in the future is really, really important. So choose your coding tool du jour, really lean into it and figure out why it's your favorite, how do you use it best, etc. Because this will be a mandatory thing for us. As you go get hired to jobs and do stuff, people will say, which AI coding tool do you use? And they will want to see you use it well. So mine is GitHub Copilot, of course, because I've been using it since it first came out. And one of the things that's very interesting is it gets a glow up every single day. So things I didn't think it could do yesterday can do today. So you have to be really up to date with it. But an AI native dev, an AI engineer, needs all 3 of these things in their tool set. That user empathy thing might be new for some of us who are not that good at dealing with humans, like me. Or Chris is very good at it. I don't like dealing with people's issues. But we have to. Now we have to do this work of like a weird product manager and talk to people about their problems. And we're like, oh God, I have enough problems. But now user empathy is really important for devs. So there are 3 things that all of us need to do, okay, as technical people. 1 is create our own AI usage. Okay, how do you do that? I actually will have, I'm not doing Island of the Misfit Agents this afternoon because Will is not here because he's with his family. So Chris and I actually are doing a workshop on how you find your own future AI self, which sounds really, really hippy-dippy, but it's not. It's very important you document your AI workflow. So as a developer, a big part of our job is requirement gathering, designing the thing, building the thing. Then you write down, what do I humanly do, and what should AI help me with? And write down everything you do, and see if you can have AI do 50% of your work.
Yeah, and I think a great deal of frustration we see with people starting to adopt artificial intelligence is that they don't actually understand their own process.
Right.
So they're just using AI for the sake of AI. But I will tell you, once you really understand what it is you need to do and literally write it down, I can categorically tell you it will help you. It's amazing.
And of course, the second part of the dev workflow, the part that everyone skips, testing, documentation, maintaining, AI really helps with all of those things. But the pro tip here is as soon as you see AI is able to do a few things in a row, that might be a job for an agent. That might be a job for an agent.
A digital minion.
A digital minion.
Yes.
So the more you can figure out how to augment your workflow with AI, that's how you're able to create that AI first version of you for the future. So that's the first activity for all of you. Second activity, figuring out how to appear in AI results. Every company is going to want to show up. Like, which is the best Microsoft partner in Manchester? Does ANS Group want to show up in that?
So you're going to end up paying, and the thing that we're starting to find really interesting is that when you go into any GPT, obviously there's an LLM that lives underneath, there is an LLM provider, okay? Guess who trains the LLM? The provider, like search engine optimization. So what you're going to start seeing is partners like us at ANS going to the LLM providers saying, how do we get to the top when people put in these prompts?
Right. So that's going to be a whole reverse engineering activity for all of us, because all of your companies are going to want to show up high in LLM results. And the third one, oh my gosh.
This is extremely important. So one of the things that, when Adam and I first started talking about what we were going to do with AI, the first thing we said is we need to be safe and we need to focus on data. Right. And actually guardrails are top priority every single time, right? They are top priority every single time. Crap data equals terrible outputs. AI is a loudhailer for terrible data, friends. It really is. So it's important to start thinking about how we can put guardrails in. And the way to do that is with good data, using tools like content moderation and Foundry, and actually making sure that users are getting the right outputs that they need.
Most of the problems people have with AI when they say AI is crap, it's they have bad data or they're using it for the wrong thing.
Correct.
It's almost always one of those. But I want to challenge you to how do we solve this problem? Okay, so this actually, you got to get down with MCP, right? Model Context Protocol or A to A or whatever the thing du jour is. It's how do you go plug into data sources in a way that's not extremely annoying or dangerous. Yeah. But I want to challenge you to this thing that just happened to me at AgentCon Casablanca. So I'm on the plane, and Hassan, who's the organizer there, says, Dona, what terminal are you arriving at? This is in WhatsApp. So I go to Microsoft Copilot, and I say, I ask, which terminal does this airline arrive in? It gives me an answer. I answer Hassan. There's a lot of copy pasting here. Why is it that I can't summon a Copilot from within an app? Like, if I have such a handy assistant, why can't I summon that assistant? And it's all about the data. It's all about interoperability. But the fact that in the year 2025, we're still copying data the way we did in 1995 is interesting. We have yet to be able to solve that problem. And the thing is that until we solve that problem, all of this AI is going to replace 50% of your workflow is not going anywhere.
Nope.
Okay, so there is always homework. Now I want everyone to get out your phones.
This is going to be at the end of every single session.
Okay?
So if you miss
this is
it now,
the homework.
You'll get it later.
Yeah, get out the homework, scan that. This is our team's Discord, okay? It's a Discord dance party. There's not that much dancing in the dance party. Discord dance party. You're killing my vibe, yeah. Okay, so what you do is you join the Discord, you join the channel called AgentCon, okay? In it, you post a picture of anything you want today. It could be slides, it can be selfies, it can be yourselves, I don't care. But hashtag try Foundry Agents. And once you do, you're gonna receive a DM with some amount of credit to go and try out Azure AI Foundry. Because even if you're a high code person, a low code person, a no code person, Azure AI Foundry gives you a set of tools where you can at least play with the sandbox and try out the tools. Because once you do that, you'll understand how much power you have over controlling and building AI. All right, everyone have this? We're going to leave you now, but we want to leave you with one closing message, which is...
I did it. I was a Dynamics person, a Power Platform person, now I am an AI person. And something that I did was I actively went, I started learning Azure AI Foundry. I started pivoting my career into doing AI. And I will tell you, it's landed me up in some pretty amazing positions. So my advice to you is just get deeper in the stack, have the guts to do it and start.
If you're a UX person, get to APIs. If you're an API person, get to the foundation model. If you're a foundation model, get one level deeper. But get one level deeper in the stack today. And I challenge you all to go get out of your comfort zone, go to a session that doesn't come right for you, and see what else you can learn. Thank you so much for being here. Happy agent.